All right. So, as Victor said, I am Laurent. I am one of the co-founders of the Utah Bronies. I remember when we had something like 5 members back in July of last year. We now have over 350. So I'm here to just give you a basic rundown of the Brony fandom for those of you who are a little bit confused as to how this whole fandom got started. So what is this whole pony thing? What's a Brony? A Brony, to put it simply, is a guy or a girl who likes My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, the new TV show. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic aired on October 10th of 2010 on the Hub as part of its opening lineup. 9 days after the episode was released, a publisher on the website Cartoon Brew published an article called "The End of the Creator-Driven Era in Television." It was a highly alarmist piece, basically saying that there's no more going to be original work. Everything is just going to be corporate television shows. Corporations are going to be controlling the animation market. Creators aren't free to do their thing. They mentioned My Little Pony in this piece. They also mentioned the new Transformers show on the Hub. And essentially, this is kind of where it all started. Members of 4chan's cartoon board picked up the article because they found it extremely ridiculous and kind of silly that people would be proclaiming the end of original entertainment. This is kind of where My Little Pony first began to be popular. It was here on 4chan that everything sort of started off. The term Brony actually doesn't mean bro pony. It's a conglomeration of 4chan's B and pony, so Brony, there we have that. And there are technically 2 types of Bronies on 4chan. There are Colts, who come from the cartoon board, and then Bronies. And they both have very, very sort of differing views of the fandom. Colts are more interested in sort of the animation, the technical aspects of the show, and Bronies are more interested in the characters, the plot, the messages, and the fandom in general. So ponies begin to spread to other boards on 4chan. They begin to have popularity in other places across the internet. I myself first saw ponies on a website called The Escapist. Yeah, they just kind of started spreading from there. And then bad stuff started happening. People didn't exactly like ponies all that much, unfortunately.
Haters.
On February 26th, 2011, massive pony bans occurred on 4chan. People posting in pony threads were permanent banned. And that essentially is what sparked the creation of PonyChan on March 1st, 2011. Incidentally, this happened 2 days before I discovered My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So, yes, this is my 1-year anniversary of being Brony. PonyChan is one of the biggest fan sites, along with Equestria Daily. For those of you who aren't familiar with the site, Equestria Daily is essentially the be-all, end-all of news sources for the Brony fandom. It's www.equestriadaily.com. You'll find fan fiction, music, art, videos, links to episodes, information about meetups, all sorts of stuff. If you want to find anything about the fandom, I recommend this website highly. And then about a year later, on February 16th, 2012, 4chan created the MLP board, which is essentially a My Little Pony board on 4chan. It's sort of their way of reconciling with us for the massive pony bans that happened a year ago. People were initially a little bit skeptical about this, for good reason. A few years ago, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the furry fandom, but a board called Fur was created on 4chan. It was supposed to create a place where furries could post. A few weeks later, everyone who was posted on that board had their IP addresses banned. So people thought that this sort of same thing was happening with the MLP board, that it was all just going to be a big trap for pony fans. Moot, the creator and founder of 4chan, has since dispelled these rumors for the time being. So it's kind of nice. We now have several places on the internet for the fandom to thrive, which is a wonderful thing, because we have something on our hands that has never been seen before in the world of fandoms. All right, Bronies, why do we like the show?
Because it's awesome.
Not only
Because of Derpy?
Okay, those are all wonderful answers. People like the show for different reasons. The animation is stellar. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is made in Flash. So I don't know how many of you have watched Flash animations on the internet. I'm sure you have. Some of them are pretty god-awful. So for this show to have this caliber of animation is pretty amazing. There's a huge strength of character development. The plots are excellent. There's sort of interweaving plots throughout the different seasons. And the voice talent is wonderful. Tara Strong, who voices Twilight Sparkle, the sort of de facto protagonist of the first season, has been in pretty much everything. She voiced Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. She voiced Raven in Teen Titans. She voiced Riku in Final Fantasy X and X2. And she has voiced many, many other things. Timmy Turner in The Fairly Odd Parents, Ben 10. And she was Harley Quinn in Arkham City. Not in Arkham Asylum. Arlene Sorkin still did the voice for that.
Was she in Tales of Symphonia?
Yeah, she was Messiah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's your answer.
Awesome.
And the show's creator, Lauren Faust, is sort of one of the major celebrities in the animation world. She created the Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. She worked as an animator on The Iron Giant, if you've all seen that.
I love The Iron Giant.
She is just a huge, huge powerhouse name in the industry. And all of her work just sort of has the same caliber of this show. And that's sort of the technical aspect of why we like the show. And part of it is also the fandom. We have an amazing community.
Derpy!
All right, so creator response to the show. How do we know that the creators know we exist? This was kind of a big question for the first few months of the fandom. We weren't sure if the Hub and Hasbro knew we existed at all, what they thought of us. But creator response has been overwhelmingly positive. They know that we exist. They like us. They try to keep us happy, as it were. And one of the ways that we know that the creators are aware of our fandom is through character Derpy started out as an animation error in Season 1, Episode 1. When Twilight Sparkle goes to the library and there's this big party, there's a pony in the background whose eyes are a little dirt. And people on Co caught onto this and named her Derpy Hooves. And people started making fan art of her. And by episode 15 of season 1, we had our first actual appearance of Derpy that was intentional. And from there, the character just sort of blossomed. She's become a sort of Easter egg for fans. You can find her in almost every episode of season 2 if you look carefully. And in the episode, the last roundup of season 2, Derpy actually got a speaking role. So this is kind of unprecedented in the world of animation. This interaction between the show's creators and the fans. Save your questions to the end, please. But yeah, it's kind of great that we've seen this positive response from the creators of the show. I mean, they don't think that the fandom is a bad thing, and I certainly don't. So, right. Other ways that they've interacted with us, there's a lot of advertising targeted towards Bronies. For one, the Bridal Maids billboard, if any of you have seen Bridesmaids at all. It's basically the exact same advertisement, but with bones. And then, of course, in one sort of TV spot for the Hub, they did a parody of Katy Perry's California Girls called Equestria Girls. There was a shout out to Bronies in that. And then this fall, here's the big thing that we know Hasbro's listening to us. They're releasing a toy line of multiple characters from the show that we've sort of requested. They're releasing Trixie, Final Scratch, also known as DJ Pony, Zecora, and they're finally giving us a White Celestia toy. They're also giving us Nightmare Moon and Lyra. Right, so the community is kind of the biggest part of being a Brony. We've created multitudes and multitudes of fan art, fan fiction, fan music, animations, all sorts of things. I know the Utah Bronies are currently working on a film project revolving around the fan fiction My Little Dashie, if you've read that, and that's turning out to be an amazing project from what we've seen so far. So I have a little bit of music for you here, and this was actually created by a member of the Utah Bronies. This is a local musician. His name is Wintergreen. So, without further ado, this is Free Flight by Wintergreen. And almost no other fandom has done to date. And I am just personally extremely proud and honored to be part of the Brony fandom and to watch it grow into what it's become today. Wintergreen actually continues to make music. His most recent piece is called Assertiveness, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just, this sort of dedication from the fans and all the sort of creative input that makes the community what it is. Bronies would not be as special if it were not for the fandom and the community surrounding the show. It would be an excellent show, certainly, and there's no taking it away from that. But without us and without the fandom as a whole, it would not have spiraled into what it is today. All right. All right, so that's the end of the presentation. And are there any questions about the fandom in general, or just general questions? Yes.
I heard like on the yesterday that they had changed Derpy's eyes from her voice. And do you have her name?
So this is a sort of very, very recent Derpy controversy on iTunes. The episode of the last roundup was pulled for a few weeks, was brought back on. And yes, Derpy's eyes had been corrected, and her voice had been changed, and she's no longer named as Derpy. I won't get into this whole controversy, but suffice to say that on the Friendship Express DVD, which was released recently, Derpy remains untouched. So if you want to see that episode in its sort of natural form, buy the DVD. Yes?
So, I know that they didn't change her eyes for the show. Did you show that there's a speaking part again?
I don't know, it's hard to say. I would certainly imagine that farther down the line they might include another speaking part for Derpy, but I honestly can't predict that.
Would you guys she's not changing though? Because one of the animators on DeviantArt posted that they're not changing Derpy.
It's on the iTunes.
It's just on the iTunes.
It's just on iTunes. Yes.
Where did name DCA come from?
I...
Winter wrap-up.
Yeah, it was a winter wrap-up. One of the Pegasi who actually was supposed to bring the birds back, the southern bird, she actually flew north, and that was named Ditsy-Doo. And so fandom sort of assigned that name to her.
Because it's a very Derpy thing.
Yes.
What is the controversy surrounding Derpy? Because I thought everyone was just against it.
Well, some people complained about Derpy's portrayal. They thought she was sort of a pastiche of mentally handicapped individuals. I really can't speak on the whole controversy because I'm not familiar with all of it. Yes?
I actually saw the show once, but I had no problem with that. I'm actually functionally autistic, and so I found it extremely stupid not hearing about this, that there was controversy over that.
Yeah. Well, again, it was sort of a very vocal minority sort of deal, and again, it's only changed on iTunes. I mean, there's no reason to make a mountain out of a molehill in this case. Yes?
Why is the original Celestia toy purple? This makes me so angry.
Why is Celestia pink? That's a good question. The answer is
Her
because...
thing isn't even gold. It's like purple.
Yeah.
It's all wrong.
The answer is because little girls like pink.
Actually, if you look at Celestia closer, if you have a lot of time, you can tilt the screen backwards. You can see that it's actually a pink tint.
She does have like a really
She does have a pink tint, but she's not sort of cotton candy pink that she is in the current toys we have. But that's just a marketing thing. You know, if you're gonna buy a toy for your little girl, you're not gonna go for like the weird pasty white only. You're gonna get the pink. Any other questions? All right. So next, I will be calling up Garrett and our very own Benjamin Hale, aka Macan. He's a resident musician, and we'll be having a short interview with him. So, thank you.